Hi everybody, it's me, Carrie, your Stampin' Up! Demonstrator from Farmington Hills, Michigan, here with today's video, which is recorded. It is December 2023, and I just wanted to point out this is my Stampin' Up! Website, MemoryINKers.com. That's where you go to shop for Stampin' Up! 24/7. My hostess code for December 2023 is M as in Michael, W as in Wayne, Y as in Yellow, N as in Nancy, R as in Robert, M as in Michael, X as in X-ray, and H as in Happy Holidays. If you need to email me, it's MemoryINKers@gmail.com. Okay, let's do some fun stuff. I'm going to set this aside. I'm using the awesome glass mat that is going to be available for new demonstrators during celebration. I'm going to be using 2 pieces of the Inked and Tiled Designer Series paper, which you actually saw me use last Tuesday in a live video. And then for my card bases, I have Crushed Curry and Lost Lagoon, as well as a couple of pieces of basic white for the inside of the cards. I have some bling and stuff ready as well, but we're going to start with the Designer Series paper. Now, one of the things I want to point out is if you look at these 2 have the same design. If you want them to match up, which I do, look at them and measure where they line up, because they don't line up exactly if you twist. See how it's off? So pay attention to that if you're trying to do what I'm trying to do. I also want to cut them 4 by 5 1/4. So I want this stripe right here to be in the center, or the 2-inch mark. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to see if I can cut 2 pieces at once. Let's see. I am going to move this until this white stripe is on the 2-inch line. And I can look down here and find my 2-inch and center it. And then move my score blade and cut. Move that out of the way. Now I can turn this and go to the 4-inch, and it should be fairly even. I'm going back and forth like that because I'm going through 2 pieces. So yeah, that looks pretty well centered. Perfect? Of course not. Now what I want to do is I want to go to 5 1/4. So here's where I have to decide. Look, this is not going to be even either. So 5 1/4 divided in half is 2 3/4. So what is the center? I'm thinking this right about here is the center. So 2 3/4. I'm sorry, that's 5. That's 5. It's more like 2 1/8. So I'm going to just kind of fake it a little bit. Perfection is overrated, as you well know how I feel about that. So I'm eyeballing it a little bit. Going to 5 1/4. There we go. Not too bad, right? Pretty well centered up. Now, I want to make sure I keep these together. I'm going to cut it corner to corner. So I'm going to line up my corners with the scoring guide. So sometimes you have to wiggle this a little bit, because when you go to move one, the other one moves. So that's about right. Now, if I were to put this down and start cutting this way, I might grab this corner and bend it up. So I'm going to move up a little bit, and I'm going to score down and then score up. So now I have my pieces cut into little triangles. Okay? So I'm going to make 2 cards, as you probably figured out by my 2 card bases here. So they are going to get divided up like this. Okay? So I'm going to have 2 cards that are not quite the same, but very similar. And look, when you do that, they line up pretty well. See how the white lines are lining up? I'm hoping you guys can see that without me zooming in, because I'm recording and I don't have my tablet to see what's going on. All right, so I'm going to set these aside. I don't want to get them confused. So I'm going to set them on opposite sides of my table here. All right. So I've got a couple of things that I want to stamp, and I left them over somewhere. Hold on one second. Let me find my pieces. Okay, so I found my little pieces here, and this is the card I did last Tuesday, in case you forgot. This is the one I did with the window opening. Okay, so I just grabbed that so you guys could see it. I am going to be using, I have already actually used the dies to cut these two pieces here. I used this die. It's the one right in the center of all of these rectangular dies, and I cut them out in advance. And then I cut two pieces of basic white, and they are cut 1 7/8 by 3 1/8. And those are going to fit inside there, barring any mistakes that I may have made. So I'm using stamps from the Color and Contour set, Something Fancy, and the upcoming Love This Moment set. This is going to be a great set for you scrapbookers out there. So, although I'm using it to make cards. All right, so let's get started. I'm going to grab a piece of my grid paper, although I can wipe this down without a problem. I want to just not have to stop and wipe it down in the video. I know, lazy. All right, so I am going to start with these two pieces, and I know one is going to go portrait and one is going to go landscape, but they are using basically the same stamps. The only difference is going to be the sentiments. So I am going to start with Lost Lagoon. And I'm going to stamp this. Oh, so cute. This is just so cute. I'm going to stamp this great flowering design on here. Like so. There we go. And I'm going to do it again. But I don't want too much of this on there. So I'm going to figure out where do I want it to be a little bit lighter. So I'm looking at the piece of cardstock. And then I'm going to just take an old sponge and I'm just going to dab off some of the ink. And then stamp this flower portrait like so. So it didn't lighten it up as much as I had hoped. So let's see if that even worked. Nope, I'm flipping it over. See, even when I record, I don't always do what I want to do. All right. So let me look at this so I can see where I definitely want to go up higher and wipe off more of this ink. I kind of want a faint impression, so I'm hoping some of that still shows, but not very much of it. So there we go. That's kind of the look that I was going for originally. So that's all I'm going to do with the Lost Lagoon ink pad. Now I am grabbing my crushed curry ink pad. And I know I've said this before, but you guys may notice I have both the newer style, they've been around for quite a while, and the older style, because there was no reason for me to replace them. They both work, and I know a lot of demonstrators very quickly decided they were going to replace them. It works. There's no reason. So here we go. I'm going to line this up, and I'm going to have to stand up. This is the inside of the flowers. So I'm trying to get them to go where I want them to go. Remember, it's whimsical, so they are not going to line up perfectly. They'll be pretty close, but you can see it is not perfect. But you can tell, I mean, this is a whimsical design. I mean, that's not supposed to look realistic, right? So, but you want to get close. You want to get close. This one's going to be way off, I can already tell. Oh no, that's not bad. All right, so I've got those done. Now I'm going to do a sentiment. So on this one, if I measured right, yep, that will fit. I'm going to do the smile. That is from the upcoming Love This Moment stamp set. And I want to ink it up. I have not used it yet. I keep bumping the camera. So let me see how that goes. I'm really squishing it in there because, like I said, I haven't used it yet. And press. There we go. That looks great. I like it. Got a little smudge. I don't care. Not worried about it. And then I have the thank you. That is from Something Fancy. And I'm just going to put that right there. So now I have my sentiments. And I've got those ready. I want to do something on the inside of my card. So one of my cards is going to be landscape and one is going to be portrait. So I do definitely want to pay attention to that. So I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to grab this same colors that I used for my sentiments, and I'm going to basically repeat what I did. I am going to stamp this one down here. Now I stamped it down far enough so that it's coming off the page. That keeps it from, if you stamp it and it's not at the bottom of the page, so I'm going to move this up, and let's assume this line is the bottom of my page. If I stamp it like that, see how it looks like it's floating? I don't want that. Okay, so now I'm going to do the same thing on this one, but it is going to be landscape. Again, moving off the bottom of the page a little bit, like so. I'm going to grab my crushed curry again and stamp the inside of the flowers. Again, remember, we're talking whimsy here. I just love these two colors together. I think they look awesome. Oh, look at the mess I made. Must have been on my fingers. All right, flip it over. I have a tendency to make a mess when I stamp. If you don't believe me, look at that. That's just craziness. There we go. I'm going to wipe off my hands a little bit, so hopefully I don't make another mess. No guarantees in life. Oh, that's really off. But I'm okay. That's all right. It's whimsy. I'm fine with it. So there's my two insides of my cards. All right. Now I can start putting everything together. Those are going to go with my sentiments. Here's one set, and I've got the other one. So now I just need to decide what one is going what way. So this is going to be my portrait card, right? So I'm going to go ahead and use the crushed curry cardstock for that, and I'm going to fold it in half. Again, this is a half a sheet of cardstock cut at 5 1/2, so it's 5 1/2 by 8 1/2. When you fold it, it's 4 1/4. Don't ask me the measurements if you're watching from another country. I never learned how to do metric. Never. So I'm an imperial girl. Plus it sounds more royal. She's imperial. Okay, that was dumb. But, you know, if you watch me, that's not anything new, right? Carrie is a little bit crazy. All right. So now this can go on the inside, just to make it a little prettier. And I'm going to do the same thing on this one. And this is my landscape card. go. And then you know me, I like to make sure these are really scored. It's just my thing, you guys. I can't help myself. Make sure I'm doing the right ones. Okay, that's the landscape. And this is the portrait. Okay, now here is where I have some fun with these triangles, right? Because they do go together. So I am just going to put them on my card front. Look at how pretty this background is. Isn't that pretty? It's so pretty. It would even look pretty to mix and match the back sides of these, because they are just, it's beautiful paper. Again, that's the inked and tiled. All of these pieces are from the current catalog, the current annual catalog, except for the new stamp set that had the smile that I used. That is Love This Moment. It's kind of a scrapbooking set. That's what I'm calling it. Oops. And I'm just trying to even up. This is why I love liquid glue. Give me time to figure things out. That's not quite right either. These points are throwing me off. And you guys are like, it's not the points, Carrie, it's just you. Yes, you're probably right about that. Okay, that looks good. All right, now this one should be easier because I can just match it up. I love how when I put them together, the plaids match. I really think that's cool. So unless you feel it, you don't know that that wasn't cut from just a single piece, which is cool. So now this is the portrait one. So now here's where I decide, am I going to go like that? Or am I going to go like that? I think I'm going to use this one to match this background. So that means I need this image. And yeah, I see that. Like I said, I'm not worried. You can grab, let me see if I can grab mine. Hang on. Whoops. I know I have it. Okay. You can grab one of these. This is like a sand eraser. And if you want to play with this for a little bit, you can probably get some of it off. But you have to remember, when you're using a sand eraser, you're also erasing some of the paper away. So you have to be careful, or else you end up with a hole in your paper. So that got rid of some of it, and that's good enough for me. So now I am going to just adhere this onto the die cut scalloped piece that I got here. And center that. Okay, and then this is going to go up on dimensionals. I forgot to tell you that you can grab, when you ink these up, you can grab a blender pen and color, pull some of the color. These are not as wet as they were. But if you want to color in your leaves, you can try to grab some of it when it's wetter. It's not really grabbing it right now. Here. I'm going to go ahead and open this up because I should have showed you that before. And I'll only do it on this one. Oof, not the other one. So you can see where I've squeezed the pad a little bit. And I can take some of the ink with my blend. What are these called? Blender pens. We have so many things called blend. It's like, you know, it's hard for someone like me to keep track. So I have some in here. All right, and you know what? I'm gonna see if I can do this. I'm gonna see if I can get a little green going right here to make it look like there's a leaf back there. Nope, it doesn't. It looks terrible, but it's okay. I'm over it. And then you definitely want to clean the back of with your blender pen before you put it away. So there you go. All right, now I'm going to put this up on dimensionals. I want my regular dimensionals. Oh, I only have tinies apparently right now. So, get that out of the way. So I'll use a little more, and I am going to add some bling to each of the designs. Ah, this is why sometimes you don't want the little ones. They want to stick to my skin all the time. I think there's a great reason to have little ones. I mean, don't get me wrong. You guys have seen me use them. You know that there is a multitude of reasons why the small ones are a great investment to have on hand. But when you're doing a piece that's this big, you know, this big of a piece, I prefer the larger ones. I'm just not taking the time to go and grab it. See, that one stuck to my hand, so it's probably got a little body lotion or something stuck to it. There we go. And pick off the backs if it will let me. Okay. So there is this one. Now here's where I want to make sure, because I know what this is. I want to look at where it's hitting with this stripe and with that stripe, so that it kind of tells me it's then in the center, right? So there we go. It's not perfectly in the center. I can see that. I've decided to line this one up with this white stripe instead. So there's that. And I brought a couple of different blings with me. For this card, I am going to be using the In Color dots. So technically this is wild wheat, but I think it works fine on here. It is close enough that it's just a fun little design on there. It's a little dark. I know it's a little bit darker, but I kind of like it. Come on, come off. There we go. Put that one up there. So there's just a little bit of bling for that card. And I'm going to repeat that process for this one. This one, remember, is going to be a landscape card. Excuse me. So I am going to start with the one that is in the Daffodil Delight, or Crushed Curry, I'm sorry. It's actually a very pale yellow. We don't really have a cardstock that is that color, but the stripe, sorry, this little stripe is Crushed Curry. I think I need to grab some water. Darn it. Excuse me, I'm going to pause this for a minute so I can grab some water. I told myself to grab water before I started, but did I? No, I did not. Okay, so now I'm just going to go ahead and put on this other piece. And this is the same thing. This is not the same color green, but these lines here are the same color. You do want to make sure you get your points, some adhesive pulled out to those points. I wouldn't press there, but pull it towards that and then kind of pull it away so that it doesn't ooze out. And like I said, this one's a little easier because all you have to do is line it up with the Daffodil Delight, or pale yellow, depending on how you look at it. Okay, now here is this, and again, I'm going to just adhere this piece to the scalloped piece. And I'm going to add some different bling to that. But this is a fun way to get a little bit more out of your designer series paper. Although these look really good as backgrounds by themselves, I just think it's fun to make them a little bit more interesting. And again, some dimensionals. How many of you guys pick your backings off like this? I would love to know. I just think it's a neat trick. Takes some practice. The first few times I did it, all I did was gouge giant holes in my dimensionals. So I'm going to turn it this way so I can again line it up with this stripe like I did the last one, and try to get it fairly centered. There we go. So there are the two. For this one, I am grabbing the iridescent pastel gems, and I'm going to use these. You can see I must really like them because I use them quite a bit. And I am going to grab one of the large ones, and I'm going to follow a similar pattern to what I did before. I'm going to put that one right on the matchy part. And then a couple of the small gems. Maybe I will do those a little different and put them inside like so. So those are my two cards. I hope that you like them. This was, again, a pre-recorded video for Carrie Beglow, your Stampin' Up! Demonstrator from Farmington Hills. You can shop for Stampin' Up! On my website at MemoryINKers.com. This is my December 2023 hostess code. And I hope that you enjoyed this quick little video. I will see you soon. Have a great holiday season, because everything's going to be recorded from here on out until I do my party week. So see you soon. Bye.